welcome to my channel. I'm Anne and today I'm bringing you my September wrap up. In the month of September I read so many books. I read a total of 25 books throughout the month of September and a lot of them were amazing. I found so many 5-star reads in the month of September. It was so great, it was so exciting. I had so many good reads, I read a lot of arcs, and we just made a lot of progress in reading. So I'm just going to go and do a quick rapid fire sort of run through of all the books that I read in the month of September, because if I'm being honest, I don't want to sit here and talk about all of these books. Wrap-ups are the bane of my existence and I just don't like them. So the first book that I read in the month of September was Smoke and Scar by Gretchen Palafox. This was a reread for me on audio because the audio was released and I got an early audio copy, and it was the perfect time to also reread book 1 in preparation for book 2 because I also read book 2 in the month of September. So this is a series, a trilogy that has just been picked up by a publisher, which I'm very, very excited about for Gretchen. But starting with Smoke and Scar, and book 2 is Splintered Kingdom. Book 2 isn't out yet, but in this one we're following a world that is kind of split and divided. We have humans on one side and the Fae on the other. The Fae have natural magic and the human have to use these mana sources to provide themselves with magic, and they are at odds. And every 25 years there is a competition that comes up called the Crucible, where people go in and they have to beat these trials to try and win the crown. Up until now, no one has won this competition. So we're following Cedric, who is a human knight who has decided that he is going in for the Crucible to try and win this crown. And then we're following Illyria, who kind of ends up being thrown into this competition in a way to protect her, one of her sister-in-law basically. And we just watch them with this slow burn, enemies to lovers, reluctant allies sort of story. It's amazing and I just had the best time with it. It was so good. And Splintered Kingdom carries on from that, where we're following them at the end of book 1, and immediately we're watching this slow burn relationship where everyone's trying to move towards the same goal because there is a evil cult that is starting to gain power, and we're just watching Cedric and Illyria really explore and try and navigate this political sort of scenario that they're in, and it's just so good. I love it. I highly recommend it, both for 5 stars, the reread and the arc copy of book 2. And the spice started to spice in book 2 and I cannot wait for everyone to read this book. It is so good and I loved every single second of it. The second book that I read was Her Vicious Beasts, I'm pretty sure, by E.P. Bally. This is another reread for me in preparation to continue with book 1. I have started this for a vlog for my friend, but this is a short novella, a prequel novella, where we're following our main character who is given a job by her father where she has to go into this prison and heal someone, and she ends up finding 3 out of the 5 mates that she has. But the thing is, she's been warned that she cannot show her mates her mating mark and cannot have anyone know that they are mates, because certain things will happen and she will be in a lot of danger alongside her mates. So she is trying to hide that. They find out and then shenanigans ensues because there's so much that happens. I then followed on with Her Feral Beasts, which is book 1, where Aurelia has been captured and has been taken to this school for feral beasts, and we're watching her navigate trying to deal with being in this school and also trying to escape because she knows she's in danger because she's been accused of killing her husband on their wedding day, and her 3 mates who have decided that they hate her because she has rejected them. And it's just this will they won't they sort of battle. It is so good, so amazing, and I just love this series already so much, and I'm hoping to get to book 2 in the month of October. Fingers crossed for me because I've got a lot to read in the month of October. The next one that I read was Wide Eyed by Esme Brett. This was another arc for me. As you know, I've read a lot of arcs this month. But I love this. This is another 5-star read for me, and in this one we're following our main character. Alyssa is a influencer in America, and her kind of whole life ends up imploding. And while she's on a family call with her best friend's brother Mike offers her a place in New Zealand, and she decides that she's going to take him up on this, and ends up turning up in New Zealand, and he is freaked the hell out because he was just being nice and he didn't realize she was actually going to take him up on the offer. And we're watching them as Mike is trying to let go of his slutty ways and show this small town that he is worthy enough to get this grant to open up a business that he wants, while also being slightly attracted to Alyssa, and she is also living with him, and watching their will they won't they sort of dynamic. This is slow burn, this is great, and I just had the best time with it. It is the epitome of Kiwi humor, and it's just so good, so funny. I was cracking up laughing the whole time, and it's just, I loved it so much. Esme Brett can do no wrong. This is definitely very early 2000s rom-com sort of writing, and it was just the best freaking time. And yeah, I loved every single second of it. The next one that I read was Broken by Daylight by Elizabeth Helen. This is book 4 in the Beasts of the Briar series. This is Day's story. We're in the summer realm, and this is following our main character, who ends up in this scenario where she is trying to find her father, who has been gone missing, and she ends up going through the briars and ending up in a fae world, and she's trying to save her father. And in this one it's a reverse harem, so she's falling, she has fated mates with all of these princes of this world, and it's just a really good time. Book 4 was immaculate. I love these books so much. My friends and I ended up buddy reading the whole series together, which was amazing. I really enjoyed it, and I have it on my shelf, but I didn't want to pull it out because it's over here and I just cannot be bothered pulling it out. But I just had the best time. It is great. I did guess a couple of the big serious moments that are revealed in here, but it was still such a great time, and I cannot wait for book 5, which is coming out next year. I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that I have read this series. It is one of my favorite series of all time. I've given every single book 5 stars, and I love every single second of it. Another one that I read was X's and O's by Kayla Grass. This has just been picked up by a publisher as well, to be traditionally published, which is very exciting. But in this one we're following Nathan, and he is on a journey during a snowstorm to visit his sister and niece for Christmas. Turns out he ends up in a bit of a car crash and ending up being saved by these 2 lumberjacks who are living in the mountains, and they may be looking for someone to join them in a third in their relationship. And this was just such a good time. There's a lot of discussions of consent and exploration. There's a lot of kinks in here. There's just so many good things, and this made me tear up at the end. I just loved every single second of it. The audio is amazing. I would highly recommend listening to the audio. It is a duet narration or dual narration where we have 3 different separate people who are doing the voices for everyone. It's just a great time. I really loved it. Nathan really learns what he wants in life, and both our other 2 main characters are really trying to open up themselves to having a third in the relationship again, because they were burned before. And it's just such a fun kinky time, and I really loved it. It was great, and I had the best time. I'm already 8 minutes into this video, and I have not even made a dent with the amount of books that I've read in this one. The next one that I read was Pregnant by the Prince. Now it has been now renamed. I think it's Royally Screwed. This is book 1 in the Pacific Passions series. This is the omnibus, so it's quite thick, but this is only 198 pages. It is great. It is short, but in this one we're following our main character Stella, who ends up in a bit of a scenario where she ends up coming across her ex-hookup, who used to be her best friend, and when they hooked up he kind of ran away and went back home to his island to be the prince, and she ends up on this island to help organize her best friend's wedding, and ends up in a sort of having another hookup with the prince. Turns out she ends up pregnant and ends up in this marriage of convenience sort of scenario, because the prince doesn't want her left out and his child not being raised by his their father, and not putting a disgrace on his name because he is the prince and he's going to be taking over from the king. And we're just watching their story. It is hilarious. It is beautiful. I just love that they have loved each other for so long but never really realized that they've loved each other, and I love that it was a second chance sort of romance. It was great and I had a great time with it. The next one that I read was Take Me With You When You Go by David Leviathan and Jennifer Neven. This is a story about a sister who ends up going missing, and the only person who knows how to contact her is her younger brother, because she leaves an email address for him to contact her. And we're just watching them email back and forth as they are both trying to come to terms with what's happening, coming to terms with the abuse that they have suffered in their home, and just all of these messy relationships that have ended up happening because of this sister going missing. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. I listened to this whole thing on audio in one day. It is very fast paced. It moves very quickly because it is email format. So we are just going back and forth between the emails and kind of exploring growing up, dealing with an abusive household, having a mother who ends up being turned against you because of a stepfather, and those messy sort of dynamics, and then the sort of dynamics between the brother and sister, and how this distance has kind of brought them closer together. And it was just really, really good, and I did really enjoy it, and I would definitely recommend it. Just check your triggers if you are triggered as to child abuse and things like that. The next one that I read was The Deviled Egg Made Me Do It by Holly Wilde, and this was just for shits and giggles basically. One of my friends was feeling down and a little bit low, so I decided that I was just going to pick up this book and give her like reactions as I read it. It is very short. It is only like 30 pages or something like that. It's very short. I don't even know how many pages it is, but it was the worst reading experience. One of the worst reading experiences I had. Basically, a deviled egg comes to life, and then it's just smutty time with this deviled egg, and the ending was just had me gagging. It was so bad, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. I plead the fifth. The next one that I read was My Boyfriends Are All Monsters, and this is part of the Scared Sexy Amazon original series where 6 authors have come together and kind of written these short little fun novellas just in time for Halloween. And this is by Kimberly Lemming, and I gave this 5 stars. This was really, really fun. So in this one we're following our main character who is going on a hike with her partner because she kind of wanted to get involved because he was going with his friends, and they end up in a bit of a situation where she breaks up with him, and this monster becomes very intrigued by her and decides that he wants her to himself. And we just watched this very short novella and this story come together. It was so fun, and Kimberly Lemming honestly never misses, and it was just a fun time. Another one that I read was Empress Teresa by Norman Boutin, and I hated this book. This is a 1-star read for me, and the only reason I read this book was because it was set as a challenge, and both myself and my podcast host of the Broke Book Girls podcast, I'll link it down below if you want to check out, are going to do a full episode on it and discuss it. It was not fun. I hated every single second of it, and I will be raging at this book and this person who made me read this book for a long, long time. The next one that I read was The Lost God by Sheila Masterson. I really enjoyed this. This is a 4-star read for me. And in this one, we're following a witch and her guardian. And they are in the middle of this sort of tournament where they have to go through all these different challenges to end up releasing this power that will save the world. And they're in a bit of a forbidden romance or forbidden love sort of scenario. Cece is in love with Rainer, and Rainer really loves her too, but they cannot be together because that's just not how it works. And Cece ends up then within a sort of love triangle where she ends up meeting this guy Xander, and ends up in this scenario where she has to go with Xander to stay safe. And we're watching her as she is struggling with knowing who she wants to be with and everything of that nature. It was really good. It was really enjoyable. I did find that the relationship ended up moving very, very quickly, and I know certain things about the next books because one of my friends, Brie, talks about it a lot, and I have been kind of spoiled for it, so didn't really love everything as much as I thought I would, but it was still a really fun time, and I'm very excited to continue with the rest of the series. The next one that I read was Splinter Kingdom, but I've already talked about that, so I'm not going to talk about it again. And then I read Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood. This was another one of those Amazon original ones, and I love this. This is another 5-star read for me. I really loved I love everything Ali Hazelwood writes. If you don't know that about me, I don't know where you've been. But I love every single thing that Ali Hazelwood writes. This is a vampire and a vampire hunter. So in this world, this vampire hunter has been going after this vampire and her whole bloodline for many, many years. He is also immortal, and he is trying to take her down. But turns out in the process of saving her from someone else, from another vampire killing this vampire, he ends up losing his memory, and we're watching them as she is trying to get rid of him without killing him, because she really doesn't want to kill him, and it's just their romance, and it was just such a fun time. Another one that I read was Forged in Blood by Sadie Kincaid. I listened to this on audio, and I've been meaning to listen to this for so long. I kept lapsing the hold on my audiobook and then just kept re-downloading it, re-borrowing it, and I just never read it. So I just decided one day that fuck it, I'm going to read it. And in this one, we're following our main character who ends up in this college that is based on... So in this one, we're following Ophelia. And she's an orphan with nobody in her corner, no family, no friends, but it's her loneliness that fuels her life's ambition to become a social worker and help the forgotten children just like her. She ends up going to this university that has come about with... She gets this trust fund money. This trust fund is paying for her to go, and this is the uni that she has to go to based on what her parents have said. She ends up coming face to face with these 4 very handsome vampires who have this immediate connection to her, and we learn that Ophelia may not be human, and there is a lot more going on in this world. It was so fun. The spicy time was spicy. I really loved just everything about this. I am so excited to continue with this series, and yeah, it's definitely more of a bully dark romance than just a light and fluffy fantasy romance. These men don't really like her. She ends up catching them in the middle of a feed, and they immediately take her to the basement to try and have their fun with them until they are told, no, you're not allowed to do this. You have to actually protect her because their teacher knows something about her that no one else does. And it's just so good. I really loved the production of this book. There is an Irish vampire. The Irish accent was great, and I just had a really good time with it. So I'm very, very excited to continue with the rest of this series. Another book that I read this month was Behind the Mask. This isn't unfortunately on Goodreads because it doesn't have an ISBN number, but this is a anthology that was written by a bunch of different NZ authors from the Ages of Pages event that I went to last year. This is the 2024 one, and the theme was Behind the Mask. So all of these stories are kind of someone has a hidden identity, and we're learning about it. I really enjoyed this, and it was a great way to kind of get to know some of these authors that I haven't checked out before, that I could definitely be more intrigued to read some of their books, especially for going to Ages of Pages next year. This is a really fun time, and I did have a great time with it. So the next book that I read was Departure by A.G. Riddle. This was a 4-star read for me, and I really, really enjoyed it. This is a thriller / sci-fi story. This is honestly one of the oldest books that I have on my TBR. It's one of the first books that I bought when I moved to New Zealand. But this is about a plane crash, and it's been days since this plane crash has happened, and no one is coming to save them. And things aren't adding up. Things are very confusing, and they just start to investigate and realizing that certain things have happened, and they may not be in the time that they know it. And they have the choice between saving the world or ending it. It was very interesting. I had a really good time with it. I wasn't really expecting the massive sci-fi twist that it went in, but I really enjoyed it, and it was such a fun time. The next one that I read was Falling by Christina Lauren, and this was a really fun one too. This is another one of the Amazon Scared Sexy books. This is 56 pages, and it was by Christina Lauren. I really enjoyed this one. This is about 2 people who end up meeting at a party. One is cursed and he cannot like explain this curse, but they immediately are drawn to this other woman who can kind of see them for what they are, and he doesn't even realize that they see them for what they are, and they have a bit of a spicy time, and then they end up going on a bit of a just staying together for that night and slowly falling in love over that one night, and it was just a really good time and I liked it. Then I read Spicy Little Curses by J.T. Gessinger. I think that's how you say it. This is another one of those scared sexy books, and this is fun. This is set in New Orleans, and we're following a journalist who has heard these very different stories about a tattooist who may be cursed, and she is doing an investigative piece, and we're watching them fall in love. Then I also read A Beautiful Nightmare by Katie Robert. This is another one from that series. I had a great time with this. I read the whole series this month. It was fun, and this is about a paralysis demon. She is struggling to be a demon. She is not doing very well with her job. She really struggles with being this person, and the one night that her mentor decides that she is ready for this, she ends up going and things don't go to plan. This man ends up feeling a different way than being scared, and it was just really cute, and I really enjoyed it. This is one of my favorite ones out of the whole series. Then I read Space Vampire by Ruby Dixon. This is about a human and a genetically modified alien that is now also a vampire, and they end up on the ship on their own because the vampire has kind of gone nuts, and we watch their story as they are trying to escape from these aliens who have taken them hostage. And we're almost there, guys. The next one that I read was August by Cleo Brown. This is a book 2 in the Devil's Road MC series, and it's book 1 in the Tomb Security series. I had the best time. I love Cleo Brown. I've talked about Rhodey before. I read Rhodey, which was book 1. Absolutely loved it, and I also love this one. So in this one we're following August, who is Tuesday's sister from book 1, and then we're also following Anna, who is a Kiwi expat who is working for the mafia, and their marriage of convenience because she needs help with her visa, and August immediately offers his help deciding to marry her so she can stay in America. And it's just a great time. I loved seeing Brody and Chewie, and I love the family dynamics in here. The family vibes is amazing, and it's just such a great time. I loved every single second of it. The next one that I read was Pounded in the Patch by Dana Leanne. This is a short erotic horror novella where we find a young woman has been kidnapped by someone who is absolutely obsessed with her, and he has sort of created this pumpkin patch nightmare horror sort of scenario where he is going to chase her down and have his way with her. And there is a bit of a twist at the end, but it was so fun. It was definitely spicy, and it's just a great little horror novella if you're looking to get into the spooky mood. The last physical book that I have on my TBR was Gather the Daughters by Jenny Melamede. Did not like this book. I don't really want to talk about it. This is a 1-star read for me, but the trigger warnings in here that you're not prepared for is not great. Basically, we're living on this island, and all of these daughters on a small isolated island, there's a community that lives by its own rules. Boys grow up knowing that they will one day reign inside and outside the home, while girls know they will be married and pregnant within moments of hitting womanhood. So basically, as soon as you get your period, you then end up in this scenario where you have your summer of fruition, where you basically get put in a house, all these men come and you have sex with all these men and hopefully get pregnant. And at the end of this summer of fruition, these men then decide if they want to marry you or not. But the thing is, they also, before they have their summer of fruition, they end up being sexually assaulted and hurt by their fathers. And that is the rules of the island. So this discusses incest, it discusses child rape, it discusses so many gross things, and it just made me very sick. And the ending, there was no point to this story at all. It just ends, and there was no real thing. It just made me feel sick, and I hated every single second of it. It was not a fun time. Then I read another 5-star read for me, and it was Crown of Olympus by Kate Asher. And in this one we're following our main character who ends up Zeus ends up dead. Someone has killed Zeus, which means that the crown of Olympus is now up for grabs. But the thing is, you don't just, the next person in line takes this crown. There is a tournament that you have to take part in. And the daughter of Hades also takes part because she realized there is a prophecy that says that she has to have the crown. So she ends up going for these trials, and she is in this enemies to lovers sort of reluctant allies dynamic with the son of Zeus, and they have a enemies to lovers sort of dynamic because Zeus killed her mother as she was born. And it's so good. I loved it. The Greek mythology, the world, it was so atmospheric. It was so good. The banter was amazing. I had the best time in the fan family, and watching our main character slowly open up and slowly realize that she doesn't have to be on her own, and the ending had me weeping. And that's all I want to say about it. It's so good, and I definitely think that you should pick it up. Then I read Change of Pace by Telegraph. As you can tell, I've just been on a audio binge this month. But this is about our main character who has a bucket list. She has been diagnosed with Kawasaki disease. Yeah, Kawasaki disease diagnosis, and she had an ICD implant, and she ends up one night when she has trying to tick off one of her bucket list items, which was have a one night stand. She ends up meeting this guy Asher, and they immediately click, but she is fighting it so hard that this is going to be a one night stand. She is not the type of person who is ending up going to have this romantic princess fairy tale sort of story. She knows that she could die at any point, and she is not ready for that. Turns out that Asher is her best friend's brother, and her best friend is obsessed with this idea. She believes that Jessie should jump into this relationship, whatever. But Asher knows that she is a bit skittish, and they end up going on this sort of adventure together where he is helping her tick off the items on her bucket list, and we're just watching them as we watch Jessie as she is slowly falling in love, because we know Asher is in love with her like immediately. He falls first, he's obsessed with her immediately, and he will go with any direction that she will take this relationship, whether that's just friends or in a relationship. And I just loved it. It was so good. There was a cat called Gus Gus, and it was just great. There were so many important discussions that went on in this book, and it's just a really good time, and I would highly recommend if you're looking for something that holds a lot of emotion and packs a punch when you're reading it, even for a romance. And the last book that I read for the month was I Got Abducted by Aliens and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com by Kimberly Lemming, and that explains the whole the whole synopsis premise of this book. Our main character is a wildlife researcher, and she is on a mission to get her master's. She ends up getting kidnapped by aliens and is put on this planet, and ends up coming into possibly two fated mates, and we're watching them as she is on a mission to punch the bird alien that actually kidnapped her. And it's just such a fun time, and it was fun. I laughed, I giggled. It's just Kimberly Lemming never misses, and yeah, it was just so fun, and I would highly recommend if you're into a bit of alien romance. It was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend. So that is the 25 books that I read in the month of September. A lot of reading done, a lot of audio listening, a lot of arcs read, which was great, and a lot of 5-star reads. Make sure to like this video if you liked it, comment down below what you read in the month of September, or if you've read any of the books that I read this month, let me know what you thought of them, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Bye!